All right, so we're going to talk about the wrist positioning. So for the wrist, we have three views, a PA oblique, and a lateral. It's our routine views. 40-inch SID, 8x10 is the IR size because we're going to collimate small. Portrait is the orientation. Of course, in our lab, we're going to use a 10x12 and just collimate small on it. We don't have the 8x10. We have one or two, I think, but anyway, just know that 8x10 is the preferred IR size, small collimation. Central ray to the mid-carpal areas for all the views. Patient's going to be seated at the end of the table with the hand and forearm on the same plane. The PA oblique needs a 45-degree obliquity externally from your PA position. The lateral is going to be a lateral medial projection. So that means the pinky finger down. Breathing instructions, none are needed. Just tell your patient, hold still, don't move. Clinical indications, fractures, dislocations, foreign bodies, pathological processes like osteomyelitis and arthritis. Let's look at our video. She's collimating in pretty small, little square, include both sides of the joint. Center to the mid-carpals, right between the styloid processes. PA. Switching out. We are going to do an oblique. 45 degrees up with thumb. Center to mid-carpal still. And then we're going to switch out our IR and the lateral. Straight up and down like a karate chop. Important on this one is to check styloid processes, make sure they're on top of each other. And that's our three views for the wrist. PA view, you should see almost all of the bones that you could label from the scaphoid around. That's on the radial side. So that's where you're going to start counting around from scaphoid to capitate. And then making your way up to the other row, come back over to the radial side. If you're saying your little acronym, you could use some lower strap positions they can't handle, or send a letter to Peter to tell him to come home, whatever works for you to remember it. Then on the oblique view, we are going to see it separates out some of the carpals so that you can see the joints between them and around them, specifically near the trapezoid trapezium. And then on the lateral, this one sticks out the best, the lunate. It's that little crescent-shaped moon bone, and the pisiform pokes out. You should be able to tell if it's a good lateral if the ulna is sitting centered in the radius. And that is it for our wrist.